milk protein. I'm just going to go through some factors real quick. All factors that decrease rumen pH tend to lead to lower milk protein. Does this look familiar to what we just talked about with fat? Those factors are the same, aren't they? But the only difference is right here. Low pH decreases the amount of RDP in your diet and increases the amount of RUP. If pH gets too low in the rumen, that alters ruminal fermentation. It means they are fermenting less carbohydrate, or their fermentation of carbohydrate, the rate of decreases, but the rate of degrading protein in the rumen also decreases. So you could, as a result, end up with an RDP deficiency, which now further strangles the rumen, because remember, they need that nitrogen, they need that ammonia and amino acids and peptides. And you've increased RUP. Well, if you decrease microbial protein synthesis and increase RUP, as I'm going to talk about here in just a little minute, I mean, you understand why that's going to decrease milk protein. Poor quality feeds and inconsistent herd nutrition. Constantly changing rumen bacteria and preventing maximum growth. Again, the healthiest cows, the happiest cows are those that get consistent diets day after day after day after day. And I like nothing better than to look at milk comps on a sheet on a day-to-day basis on a farm and see over a period of a month, 2 months, 3 months, virtually no change in milk protein and no change in butter fat. That is beautiful. That's what your cows want to do. They can manage a little inconsistency because they have a rumen buffer there. But after a while, you can challenge that to the point where it can't react. So if your milk comps are jumping up and down, there is some problem with feeding management here. And you can see some here on the list. Too little RDP in the diet. Well, that's going to strangle the rumen, strangle rumen bacteria, decrease synthesis of microbial protein and VFAs. Too little or too much RUP. Too little means you're underfeeding protein. Too much means, well, you're replacing carbohydrates if you're feeding too much. And the amino acid composition of RUP is not as good as microbial protein, so that's going to be another reason for decreasing milk protein. And then diet is not balanced for lysine and methionine. You're going to see this picture several times here throughout the rest of my presentation. That's a barrel. It's got water in it. That barrel is being used with about 60% efficiency. You're going to need 40% more barrels to truck 20 ton of water from one spot to another on your farm if you have barrels that look like that. Those barrels are not being used efficiently. Why are you going to keep seeing this? Because the RUP that's in your diet that you're feeding your cows, that comes from forages and grains and your supplemental proteins, on average, are that deficient in methionine. And the RUP in your diet is about that deficient in lysine, on average, in North America. This is the opportunity here why I've been working in this area for 40 years. I published my first work on sequencing of amino acid limitation in dairy cows in 1976, before you were born, sir. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because 80–90% of the cows in the United States get RUP that looks like that. Why? We've understood this for years and years. How many times do we have to beat people over the head about this? Not you as producers, you're nutritionists. My goodness, we're leaving protein on the table. You're spending money for bypass protein and it's not being used efficiently. questions on fat? Because I want to get out of fat.
Right here.
Yes.
I don't have a question on that, but I think as a whole here in our area, we're way up on butterfat protein this year.
That's excellent.
Explain that to me, though.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it's the same thing in Wisconsin. I mean, I'm shocked at some of these. I'm shocked at the number of herds that are going over 4%. I just.
Well, we're not over 4, but we're at 387 right now.
Well, no, that's really good. You're way above average there, right? 365 is the average for your area. Yeah, and that's great. It's great. So something about carbohydrate nutrition there. I think very little of that has to do with anything on amino acid nutrition, although it can, and I'm going to talk about that. But it's pretty much going to be on the carbohydrate side, because if you're that high, you're not suffering from the classical cases of milk fat depression. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's still a lot we don't know, but we're not going to get there, are we? If we just balance diets for non-structural carbohydrates and NDF and crude protein. If anybody can, I have a tough time calling myself a nutritionist, so that's all I balance for. The dairy producers here don't need me for that. Yeah.